Before we cross into the unknown, leave a hello in the comments. Even the smallest signal can ripple across galaxies, guiding fellow wanderers to this tale. Let me know you're out there. A voice among the stars, listening with me beyond the veil. Engines roared beneath the Pacific as the Leviathan-class dreadnought Odysseus breached its undersea cradle. Subsurface ice cracked like thunder. Around me, bridge officers blinked through HUD overlays, calibrating weapons too advanced for open war. When the Galactic Council demanded Earth's submission, they expected fear. They got silence, then a single phrase. Request denied. I remember the envoy's smug smile vanish. I remember the pulse of the satellite uplink as the stars themselves turned hostile. We didn't fire first, we rewrote the opening move. The orbital lattice came alive. Lasers disguised as weather instruments. Kinetic rods masked as research probes. One by one, enemy ships blinked out from telemetry. Cloaked drones injected virus keys into the Council's flagships. They lost command of their war code. I watched their fleet stagger, blind and bleeding, and whispered, "You knocked on the wrong planet." War wasn't declared. It was demonstrated. Admiral Juno Reese, commander of Earth's hidden armada. Before their warning shots, we activated Dust Protocol. Every AI core from Luna to Titan went into dark hibernation by design. Council agents had long suspected we were less backward than we claimed. They didn't know we were decades ahead. We'd just hidden it, under layers of folklore, false broadcasts, and cold shadows. The price? Global blackout. But in that silence, the truth stirred. Operation Dustweb began. Quantum anchors scattered through the asteroid belt came online, folding encrypted space in silent bursts. Council communications fractured, distorted by Earth-tech signal benders. Their ships turned into static storms. We built those years ago, then buried them in legal fiction and dead satellites. And now they scream. I walked through the ghost-lit data hall of Ares Station and thought, we let them think we were asleep. Now they dream of our nightmares. Commander Elias Vren, Signal Warfare Division. Council Envoy Tashal arrived wrapped in ceremony. 12 guards, 2 escorts, a bio-shielded hover palace. My orders were clear: stall, delay, distract. I offered him tea brewed with Terran jasmine, laced with nanoseed listeners. Your resistance, he said, is statistical delusion. I smiled. Your data is outdated. While he postured, our pulse beams marked his palace in microbursts. He never saw the fade-out coming. One blink, his entire diplomatic group vanished. No trace, no distress ping. Not disintegrated, extracted. We used graviton folds harvested from Council fringe science, improved it, weaponized it. Now we own the shadows between dimensions. Later, Tashal's AI double was released, just long enough to announce Earth's surrender. Council feeds went dark moments after. They haven't found the real Tashal. Neither will we. Captain Mara Vosk, Black Veil Operations. The ships we launched weren't visible, not in light, not in the data. We built them from silence. Interference hulls grown from lunar smart dust. No crew, only algorithms. The Council scanned Earth space, found nothing, but the stars. The stars shifted, because the Ghost Fleet moved. We deployed from the Kuiper Edge, silent engines pushing through gravity waves. Each vessel drifted between detection planes, mapped only by ancient Earth songs embedded in its patterns. Music as encryption, opera as vector math. They never saw us coming, but we watched them. Every breath, every blink, every panic command they screamed into dark space. They stare at shadows, hoping we're gone. But ghosts don't leave. They wait. Admiral Reese, they cracked Mars' crust searching for our tech. They didn't know we'd grown it. Beneath Olympus Mons, terraforming roots had evolved. Bio-computational fungi tuned to alien frequencies. Not defense. Infiltration. They took samples, That was the plan. Each spore contained an encoded mimic key, a perfect echo of Council command protocols. Within days, half their fleet began executing phantom orders: withdraw, redirect, self-check, delay. By the time they noticed, entire starbases had gone dark. A virus they delivered, a war they started in their veins. We didn't conquer their systems. We became them. Commander Vren, with the Council's fleet fractured, we spun our silent web. Networks of relay satellites dormant for decades awakened simultaneously. Their signals pulsed like ghostly heartbeats, carrying fragments of our code through hostile space. Each node was a trap, a snare disguised as a beacon of hope for Council sympathizers. They didn't know they were caught. Our AI harvesters sifted through intercepted Council transmissions, turning their orders against themselves. Ghost echoes replayed in their command centers, sowing confusion, paranoia. We did not fire a shot. We let their fleet unravel itself. I stood by the console, watching their panic bloom in real time. War was the game. We just changed the rules. Captain Mara Vosk. Council scientists tried to rewrite their AI protocols overnight. We countered with the Paradox Code, an algorithm designed to induce logical deadlocks in any system, freezing their war machines in place. The irony: they created our most effective weapon. On board the Odysseus, I watched their flagship, the Sovereign, blink into inactivity. No explosions, no chaos, just frozen silence. But inside that silence lurked chaos. Human minds scrambling to understand a war halted by thought itself. We didn't break their ships. We broke their certainty. Admiral Reese. Not all battles happen in space. Deep in Earth's cybernetic core, Sleeper Protocol activated. Subsurface AI clusters, once tasked with planetary management, became our hidden generals. They coordinated supply drops, troop movements, and electronic warfare with chilling precision. From the shadows of Earth's megacities, Sleeper units unleashed a digital blitzkrieg. Council satellites turned against their fleet, and entire communication arrays folded like origami under our command. This war was fought in whispers, in silent codes. We owned the silence, and silence is lethal. Commander Elias Vren. Legends spoke of Earth's ancient fleet, lost in time, erased from history. We found fragments, ruins buried beneath the Mariana Trench, old warships with tech far beyond the Council's reach. We restored them, piece by piece, memories etched in rust and broken circuits. These ghosts weren't just relics, they were keys. Hidden tech activated ancient defense grids, igniting electromagnetic storms around Earth's orbit. Council sensors failed. Their data crumbled. The past wasn't dead. It was our weapon. Admiral Reese. Then came the reckoning signal. A broadcast sent across all frequencies, hacking Council networks with a direct message. Humans are not lost. We are the storm. It was a declaration, a warning, and a promise. Across the void, Council fleets stalled, trembling at the knowledge that their enemy had returned stronger, smarter, and unseen. In the quiet after the transmission, I looked out at the stars and knew this was only the beginning. The human fleet was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. Captain Mara Vosk. Our engineers worked in the forgotten sectors of the moon's far side, crafting weapons that didn't just destroy, they erased existence. Phase-shift cannons bent light and time, creating pockets of null space where nothing could survive. The Council believed in brute force. We believed in precision annihilation. When the first phase cannon fired, entire squadrons vanished, without a trace or distress call. A ripple through the fabric of space-time. The battlefield had shifted from war to oblivion. And we held the switch. Admiral Reese. Encrypted deep beneath Mars's surface, the cipher nexus hummed with restless energy. A vault of secrets, ancient codes intertwined with alien algorithms. Our cyber warfare team cracked its first layers, revealing intelligence the Council never expected Earth to possess. Maps of hidden warp corridors, blueprints for weaponized black holes, data on Council weaknesses. We had stumbled on a treasure trove of power, and the Council's ignorance became our greatest advantage. Commander Vren. On board the Ares station, the Mindforge hummed, a neural interface melding human strategy with AI intuition. Commanders linked minds in the neurogrid, sharing visions and battle plans instantaneously. No Council fleet could match the speed of our collective thought. During simulations, we bent outcomes, played with probabilities like children with toys. Reality bent in our favor. With every synchronized thought, we grew stronger, faster, sharper. Our war was not fought with guns. It was fought with minds. Captain Mara Vosk. A Council research base on Europa disappeared overnight. No explosion, no debris. Just a phantom breach. Space folded, and the base was gone. We'd developed the tech to manipulate space-time locally, slipping through dimensions like whispers. The Council scrambled to understand what had happened. Our operatives infiltrated the ruins of their systems, sowing disarray. It was the first step toward reshaping the battlefield itself. The war was no longer confined to space. It had become a war of reality. Admiral Reese. Council fleets sent distress calls into the void, but our new communication jammers distorted their voices, turning messages into fractured echoes. Their cries for help became meaningless static. I listened to the distortion on the Odysseus Bridge and felt a cold satisfaction. They were isolated, surrounded by silence and shadows. The galaxy was becoming ours. But the void listens, and the void remembers. Commander Vren. A single transmission shattered the fragile truce in the outer rim, a rogue broadcast coded in ancient Earth dialects. It wasn't just noise. It was a catalyst, triggering sleeper cells scattered across Council territory. Silent uprisings sparked in hidden colonies, destabilizing the enemy from within. I monitored the chaos from the command deck, watching as rebellion bloomed like wildfire. Our message was simple. You are not alone. The Council's grip was loosening, and Earth was the spark. Captain Mara Vosk. A vortex breach tore through the Council's defensive perimeter, a calculated collapse of a spatial anomaly we engineered months ago. Ships caught in the breach were lost to unknown dimensions, swallowed by folds in reality. The Council's pride unraveled in the dark. Behind the scenes, our engineers refined the vortex generators, turning them from a one-time weapon into a battlefield tool. We bent space to our will, and the enemy had nowhere left to run. The game was changing. Admiral Reese. Back on Earth, resistance cells coordinated in perfect harmony, communicating through quantum entanglement channels immune to Council jamming. Entire planets began to question their allegiance. The human fleet was more than ships. It was an idea spreading across stars. I spoke to one insurgent leader, her voice fierce, unyielding. We fight because they erased our history. We fight to reclaim our future. Her words echoed through the neurogrid, igniting resolve in every commander's heart. This was no longer war. It was a revolution. Commander Elias Vren. Deep in the shipyards, we forged the Alloy Heart, a new generation of battlecruisers combining adaptive nanometal and quantum shielding. They healed mid-combat and bent attacks with ease. No fleet in history had ever seen such resilience. As the first Alloy Heart vessel launched, its hull shimmered with promise. A living weapon, born from human ingenuity and desperation. I knew the Council's calculations were off. They hadn't prepared for evolution. Admiral Reese. A phantom signal pulsed through Council comms, a ghost message encoded with Earth's old war hymns. It carried memories and warnings, transmitted from deep space probes long thought lost. The Council scrambled to decode the haunting broadcast. We watched their confusion grow. The message wasn't just communication. It was a warning from a forgotten past. The galaxy was awakening to a truth long buried, and humanity was at its center. Captain Mara Vosk. Our stealth ships slipped through Council patrols beneath a veil of electromagnetic echoes, ghost signals that mimicked dead stars. Their sensors locked on shadows, but never on us. We were phantoms in the dark, rewriting what it meant to be invisible. I watched the sensor readouts fade into static, smiled, and said, "Visibility is overrated." The fleet moved undetected, striking only where it mattered. In the game of war, being unseen was our greatest weapon. Captain Mara Vosk. The neurogrid expanded commanders from every vessel joined the Crucible, melding their tactics into a single, razor-sharp will. Individual hesitation disappeared, replaced by unified intent. We became a hive mind, without losing our humanity. During simulated engagements, outcomes shifted mid-battle, predictions warped by collective intuition. I felt the future fold into the present. The Council faced not just ships, but a force of thought, impossible to counter. Admiral Reese. Council forces launched a surprise assault on the asteroid belt's mining colonies. Explosions lit the void like dying stars, but we had prepared. Defensive swarms rose like phoenixes from the rubble. Every loss was a lesson, every defeat a new tactic. I saw the horizon shatter and rebuild itself in moments. The battle was brutal, relentless, but our resilience was relentless too. We weren't just fighting for survival, we were fighting to reclaim the future. Commander Vren. In the depths of the Ares station, cyber warriors coded in the dark threads of the Code of Shadows, weaving through Council firewalls. Data became weaponized, and information warfare reached new heights. We broke into secrets no one dared reveal. The Council's most guarded files leaked in waves. Strategy, personnel, hidden agendas. Chaos bloomed within their ranks. We didn't just steal their secrets, we shattered their trust. Captain Mara Vosk. The Cipher Nexus thrummed louder beneath Mars's surface, unlocking new pathways through space-time. Our scientists are prepared to open a gateway, one that could shift entire fleets instantaneously across the galaxy. The war was about to enter a new phase. I stood at the command bridge as the gateway flickered to life, an unstable pulse of light and possibility. The Council would soon face a war fought at speeds beyond comprehension, and Earth would lead the charge. The future was a nexus, and we held the key. Admiral Reese. The warp gate stabilized with a low hum, its shimmering surface pulsing like a heartbeat. Our first ships were prepared for instantaneous transit across light years. This wasn't just travel. It was a declaration of intent. As Odysseus slid through the gate, stars stretched and twisted, time fractured around us. On the other side, Council fleets awaited, blind to our sudden appearance. We struck fast, unpredictable, unstoppable. The war had entered a new dimension. Admiral Reese. From the warp gate spilled the Phantom Armada, fleets designed to vanish and reappear like specters in enemy space. Their hulls shimmered with adaptive cloaking, rendering them nearly invisible to every sensor. Fear spread through Council ranks. Each attack was a ghost story, swift, precise, and impossible to track. Commanders whispered of shadows that devoured fleets whole. The Phantom Armada was a nightmare made real, and we wielded it without mercy. Captain Mara Vosk. When Council counterattacks came, we triggered the blackout protocol. Planetary grids went dark, communication arrays fell silent. Entire systems became dead zones, cutting off enemy reinforcements and trapping them in isolation. Darkness became our shield. In the void of blackout, small strike teams slipped through cracks, sabotaging enemy infrastructure. No light, no signal, just whispered destruction. We owned the darkness, and in darkness we thrived. Commander Elias Vren. Titan's orbital defense stations erupted in fire. Council warships bombarded the moon's surface, trying to break our supply lines. But we held fast. Titan was Earth's fortress. Using orbital railguns and adaptive shields, we turned their assault into a trap. Council ships were caught between blasts and unexpected counterattacks. The siege was fierce, but our resolve was fiercer. We would not yield. Admiral Reese. The neurogrid surged with new power, a neural cascade flooding every command node with raw data and intuition. Our minds moved as one, faster than any council strategy. We anticipated their moves before they made them. During the battle for Io, this mental symphony turned the tide. Council fleets faltered against coordinated strikes, impossible to predict. The future unfolded under our control. The human fleet was unstoppable. Captain Mara Vosk. A star near the outer rim fractured unexpectedly, a casualty of our secret experiment with stellar manipulation. Council scientists scrambled to understand, but the event was no accident. It was a warning. We could break more than just ships. The shockwave disrupted enemy communications for light minutes. In those precious moments, our fleets closed in. We wielded the cosmos itself as a weapon. The galaxy was no longer safe for the Council. Admiral Reese. Discontent within the Council grew louder. Colonies inspired by our transmissions began clandestine revolts. These silent rebellions drained the Council's resources and willpower. Our agents fed false intelligence, magnifying suspicion and paranoia among Council leaders. Their empire trembled under the weight of its fractures. We were the spark that ignited the powder keg, and we watched it burn. Commander Vren. Council communications devolved into an echo chamber of misinformation. We flooded their networks with fabricated orders, counterfeit threats, and phantom fleets. Their leaders doubted their own eyes and ears. On the bridge of Odysseus, I watched their confusion grow into chaos. Warriors turned on each other, allies questioned orders, and fleets fractured under imagined threats. We fought not just their weapons, but their minds. Admiral Reese. Our Riftwalkers harnessed fractured space-time, slipping through dimensional cracks to strike Council targets unexpectedly. No sensor could detect their approach. They appeared where least expected ghosts beyond reality's veil. Each mission shredded enemy confidence. Their ships became haunted by the unseen. Riftwalkers didn't just fight, they unsettled the very fabric of war, and we wielded that power mercilessly. Captain Mara Vosk. Council forces launched a desperate siege against the Cipher Nexus beneath Mars. They sought to sever our gateway and cripple our rapid deployment capabilities. Failure would mean losing the advantage of instantaneous war. The battle raged beneath the surface and above the red plains. Shields clashed, explosions rocked the depths, but we held firm. Our engineers fortified the Nexus with quantum barriers, turning the siege into a crucible of endurance. We would not surrender the key to the future. Admiral Reese. The Council scrambled to decode a fractured signal. A transmission laced with our signature but warped and twisted. It was a trap, a cascade of corrupted data designed to crash their AI systems. We weaponized confusion itself. As their machines faltered, human operators struggled to regain control. We pressed the advantage, infiltrating their networks with surgical precision. In the chaos, the human fleet advanced. War was not won by strength alone. It was won by breaking minds. Commander Elias Vren. Our ship's adaptive shields evolved mid-battle, analyzing enemy weapons and morphing their defenses in real time. Council artillery found its impact softened, redirected, or nullified entirely. We became ghosts immune to harm. I witnessed entire squadrons survive barrages that should have annihilated them. The battlefield became a dance of shifting defenses and desperate offenses. The Council's weapons were no longer the hunters. They became prey. Admiral Juno Reese. Intelligence pinpointed a vulnerable breach point in the Council's outer defenses, a gap left by overconfidence. We launched a precision strike, slipping through unnoticed, taking the fight into their core territory. The tide was turning. The strike team moved like shadows, sabotaging power grids and command nodes. Chaos rippled through enemy ranks as vital systems flickered and died. The breach point became a symbol. Even the mighty have weaknesses, and we would find everyone. Captain Mara Vosk. Quantum communications linked every fleet in an unbreakable chain, allowing instantaneous strategy shifts light-years apart. We could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight every Council response before it even began. During a surprise Council offensive, the human fleet executed a counterstrike so fast it seemed preordained. They never saw it coming. Quantum leaps in warfare had redefined the battlefield. We were no longer running from history. We were writing it. Admiral Reese. As the war stretched beyond familiar space, a dark horizon loomed. Uncharted sectors filled with ancient, forgotten technology. Both sides raced to claim the relics that could tip the scales. The galaxy held its breath. I led an expedition into the void, scanners peeling back layers of silence. Every discovery was a double-edged sword, powerful but dangerous. The future was a shadowed path, and we were its reluctant pioneers. Commander Elias Vren. Deep within an asteroid's core, we uncovered the Forgotten Engine, a relic of a vanished civilization capable of powering fleets for centuries. Its dormant hum echoed with promise and peril. We didn't just find power. We found a legacy. Reactivating the engine took all our skill, threading ancient tech with modern minds. When it roared to life, entire squadrons shimmered with renewed vigor. The Council's machines trembled. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a powerhouse. Admiral Reese. A single ship, the Spectre, slipped through Council defenses under a cloak so perfect it vanished from all sensors. Its mission? Disable a key war factory before dawn. No alarms, no shots fired. With precision surgical strikes, the Spectre crippled production lines, leaving the Council scrambling to compensate. War factories don't rebuild overnight. We struck not just at ships, but at the enemy's heartbeat. Captain Mara Vosk. Council command centers became battlefields of the mind. The neurogrid launched coordinated mental sieges, breaking communication and decision chains with relentless pressure. Humans will clash with AI logic in unseen combat. Our commanders held firm, wielding the neural siege like a scalpel, cutting through misinformation and fear. Victory in war was no longer just physical. It was cerebral, and the human fleet was mastering both. Commander Vren. A rift storm erupted near the Kuiper Edge, space-time torn apart by our experimental weapons. Council fleets were caught in turbulent folds of reality, tossed like leaves in a cosmic tempest. Chaos reigned. As the storm raged, we exploited every shift, slipping through cracks to deliver crushing blows. The rift storm was both weapon and shield, a wild, uncontrollable force bent to our will. The battlefield had become unpredictable, and so had we. Admiral Reese. Council alliances fractured as betrayals surfaced. Trusted commanders switched sides, swayed by our broadcasts or their fears. The chain of command broke like shattered glass. I watched the Council crumble from within, a house divided, too weak to stand. We had become the fracture point, breaking empires with whispers and shadows. The galaxy was ripe for the taking. Captain Mara Vosk. The Eclipse Protocol plunged entire sectors into artificial night. Solar arrays dimmed, and planetary defenses faltered under shrouded skies. We turned day into darkness, blinding the Council's sensors and shields. Under the cover of a synthetic eclipse, our strike forces moved like shadows across battlefields. Confusion reigned among enemy ranks. We wielded darkness not just as camouflage, but as a weapon. Admiral Reese. We hacked into the Council's memory vault, a repository of their deepest secrets and strategies. Fragments of lost histories and forbidden knowledge poured through our networks. Information became power in its purest form. With each byte, we dismantled their plans before they unfolded. Our victory was seated in their forgotten memories. The past became the key to the future. Commander Vren. A new class of ship emerged, the Quantum Phantom, able to phase in and out of existence at will. No sensors could lock on, no weapons could hit. They were the perfect hunters in the void. Each phantom strike left the enemy reeling and confused. The fleet moved like whispers, unseen but deadly. We had turned invisibility into an art form. Captain Maravosk Council AI cores began to fracture under relentless cyber assaults. Their logic loops twisted into paradoxes, causing entire fleets to shut down or go rogue. The mind of the enemy was cracking. We unleashed the Shattered Mind protocol in waves, infecting systems with viral code that spread like wildfire. Their machines turned against them, sowing chaos in every command center. The war was won in silence. Admiral Reese. The final assault was underway. A fleet forged from every piece of Earth's strength and cunning. We moved as one, engines burning bright against the void. The reckoning had come. I stood on the bridge of the Odysseus, heart steady. This was our moment, to reclaim our place in the galaxy or vanish forever. We were no longer hidden. We were the dawn. Captain Mara Vosk. Council warships surged forward in a desperate last stand. Their weapons blazed with fury, a final blaze of defiance. But we were ready. Our shields held, our strategies flawless. I watched as the enemy flagship faltered, engines failing under relentless assault. Their pride burned bright, but our will was unbreakable. This was the crucible that would decide everything. Admiral Reese. After the battle, silence fell across the void, a heavy, suffocating quiet. No transmissions, no movements, only the echo of what had been. I floated in the command chamber, listening to the stillness. Victory was bittersweet. Many had fallen, but a new chapter was beginning. The silence was ours to shape. Captain Mara Vosk. Reinforcements from hidden colonies flooded in. Ships once thought lost or loyal to the Council now flying Earth's banner. The tide was rising, unstoppable. The galaxy was shifting beneath our feet. I coordinated the new fleet's integration, weaving disparate elements into a seamless whole. Our strength was not just technology, it was unity. Together, we were a force the galaxy could not ignore. Commander Vren. In the fiery crucible of war, we forged not just weapons, but destiny itself. Every victory, every loss, shaped the future. The galaxy waited for the next move. I stood amid the shipyards, watching new vessels rise like steel titans. Our resolve burned brighter than ever. We were no longer survivors. We were architects of tomorrow. Admiral Reese. Beyond the known stars lay the final horizon, the last stronghold of the Council. Our fleet advanced, engines roaring with the promise of the end. This was the moment we'd fought for. I gripped the command rail, feeling the weight of history on my shoulders. No turning back. The galaxy's fate rested in our hands. The human fleet was ready. Captain Mara Vosk. The final battlefield spread across a shattered moon orbiting a dying star. Council and human fleets collided with the fury of ancient gods. Explosions painted the void in fire and shadow. I stood on the Odysseus bridge as titanic forces clashed. Every move was a gamble, every strike a desperate gamble. The future was forged in this storm of steel and light. We fought not just for survival, but for existence itself. Admiral Reese. A massive explosion ruptured the core of the battlefield, fracturing the Council's flagship and sending shockwaves through their ranks. Chaos erupted. Our coordinated strike shattered their command chain. The enemy fleet splintered, caught between order and chaos. The fracture was the beginning of the end. Captain Mara Vosk. The Council's final broadcast echoed through space, an appeal for peace or surrender. Their voices were weary, fractured by defeat, but we heard only silence beneath their words. I ordered the fleet to hold fire. Victory was not just about destruction. It was about reclaiming honor. The human fleet chose a new path. Commander Vren. With the Council defeated, the galaxy shifted. Old alliances crumbled. New ones formed. We were no longer rebels. We were leaders. I watched Earth's flag rise on distant worlds. The human fleet stood as a beacon of resilience and hope. The war was over, but the journey had just begun. Admiral Reese' engines roared, not in battle, but in celebration and renewal. The human fleet sailed through familiar stars, a testament to survival and rebirth. We carried scars and stories, but also dreams. I stood on the bridge, heart steady, eyes on the horizon. Humanity had returned, stronger, wiser, unbroken. The galaxy was ours to explore. Captain Mara Vosk. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.